So Fallout 76 is doing a lot different. If you haven't heard, this one's gonna be online. A pretty big switch up from the single player experience we've known and loved for 10 plus years at this point. And although many people are getting hung up on that online component, there's actually a lot of other changes coming with this game when you compare it to Fallout 4 or even some of the older iterations like New Vegas and Fallout 3. So in this video, what I want to do is highlight some of those lesser changes. They'll still have a massive impact on the game, but they're simply not getting as much coverage because of how much this game is doing differently. If you guys do enjoy the content, you can leave a like or subscribe. You guys actually voted on this video earlier today. One of the first big changes that I think are going to change your day-to-day experiences with Fallout 76 is crafting. So now don't get me wrong, obviously crafting has been in almost every Fallout game, at least all of the modern ones. But with Fallout 76, Bethesda is really taking crafting to the next level. It's been said in previous interviews that simply the number of things you can craft is going to be greatly exaggerated. But even beyond that, now schematics are going to really act as a middleman in this process. With Fallout 4, for most things, as long as you had the perk requirement and the raw materials, you could craft things at the chemistry station. In Fallout 76, a lot of the times you're actually going to have to go out and find the appropriate schematics first, whether that be through quest rewards or maybe just picking it up off a dead enemy. And although crafting is said to be greatly expanded with simply tons of additional options compared to Fallout 4, a lot of these options won't be available to you right away. But they've even taken things a step farther with this mix-up. Some of the materials required for crafting are going to be considerably more rare and scarce, and it seems like resource gathering will play a larger role in this game in addition to crafting itself playing a larger role. We already know that mining is coming back in some way, probably going to be similar to Skyrim system. But in addition, we know of certain locations on the map that are going to have rare resources, but they're guarded by enemy creatures. So even though you might get a larger cache of supplies, it might take a few friends along the way to actually clear through whatever's guarding it. Then we do have perks. Bethesda dedicated quite a bit of time and showed us a little bit of gameplay on perks, but for whatever reason, it's just not getting as much attention as you think it would. In Fallout 76, they largely got rid of the perk tree that we had in Fallout 4, and even the skills and trait system that we had in Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3. Where in this new game, we have a perk card system, where basically you're going to have interchangeable cards for each of your various special stats that you can get from leveling up or even from perk card packs, which are said to be in this game, and you get them every couple of levels. One of the big changes it seems like that's coming as a result of this is Fallout 76 is going to be way more loadouty, as I describe it. You'll be able to have an assortment of your various perk cards activated at one time up to a limit, and they're going to give you very specific bonuses. You're going to really be able to kind of spec out one distinctive area if you want to. But even beyond that, at a later time, let's say halfway through your gameplay, if you want to mix it up, you could change everything about that. You're not kind of locked into those choices like you are in some of the previous games. You'll have the option to mix and match or even combine some of your existing cards, and one of the reasons Bethesda talks about foregoing towards this perk card system is actually for events. It seems like something they've wanted to do in the past is have timed events with their games. In the previous system, it wasn't really feasible, but in Fallout 76, I wouldn't be surprised if come Christmas time, you have a few Christmas-themed perk cards that you can only get for a week or two. So we all know the game is going to be multiplayer, but Bethesda from literally the announcement of this game, or the proper reveal, has been asserting that you can play it by yourself. And although yes, you totally can play the game alone, only some of it. So one of the other massive changes coming with this game that we found out just a few days ago is some of the content has to be played with others. So we have a few specific examples. Fallout 76 is going to feature this new thing called events, basically things happening on the map, and some of these are going to be squad only, so you can't go and complete that event by yourself, but you have to have other people with you. In addition, there's cooperatively built settlements specifically, certain locations on the map where you and a few friends have to build a settlement together. Of course, there are the solo settlements, but it seems like to really take full advantage and create larger settlements, you have to connect your settlement with other people's. And then finally, to kind of expand off of the previous point, it seems like charisma is super focused on group play. Since there's no human NPCs in Fallout 76, the charisma tree is now going to affect the people you play with mostly. So for example, one perk card in the charisma tree will make it so your whole group does run faster. Even though there are a few options that apply to solo players also, it seems like a large proponent of the perk cards we've seen at least thus far for the charisma tree are geared around cooperative play, because that's kind of the goal of the tree now. So if you're playing by yourself, it seems like taking charisma is no longer a super viable option, or at least it wouldn't be a wise one. And then we have the fact that Fallout 76 isn't going to be on Steam. So depending on who you are, this could be a really big issue or a really minor one. For me personally, I don't particularly care that they're going with Bethesda.net, their very own launcher, because I got like 6 of these freaking programs installed anyway. What's adding one more to that list? Then on the other hand, you do have a lot of the consumer protection practices that Steam does put in place. Their review system, their recently reviewed system, and even their return policy. Bethesda will probably have a return policy of some sort, but it may not stand up to the same scrutiny that Steam's does already. In addition, the reason they're kind of making this fairly large switch off of Steam is, one, they actually take a cut of your sales if you do feature your game on Steam, and since I bet a lot of Fallout 76's revenue is going to be over the long haul, like you do have the upfront cost of $60, but since all of the DLC will be free, it's going to rely heavily on microtransactions. I bet Bethesda doing the math realized, hey, if Steam's taking a 30% cut every time someone buys a skin in our game, it's going to hurt us a little bit. The official quote is, it allows Bethesda to connect more directly with the players, which I suppose seems true, but I think this really comes down to a money thing. Now, when you open up Bethesda.net's launcher to play Fallout 76, you'll probably see a bunch of adverts for the latest cosmetics that you can buy, or even some trailers for those. And then last but not least, one that I've really been focusing more so on than a lot of other people are mods. This somewhat builds off of the previous point. Right off the bat, mods in Fallout 76 are going to be a very different experience because it's only usable through private servers. I think the private server aspect is both a good and a bad thing. Sometimes it might be a little bit frustrating if you just want to use a simpler or quality of life mod, and then you have to have a whole server just to use that one mod. But at the same time, I think it also opens up a lot of possibilities for a larger scale and really epic mods in this new game. It is all pure speculation at this point because we have so few details in this area, but I personally think the type of mods we do see for Fallout 76 will be quite distinctively different than the type of mods we do see for Fallout 4 right now. If you look at some of these other highly modifiable online based games like Minecraft or Garry's Mod, a lot of the mods you do see were actual totally new experiences, new game modes to play the game in. Garry's Mod's Trouble in Terrorist Town. I wouldn't be shocked if we see something at least somewhat similar in Fallout 76 at some point, or even a Hunger Games / Battle Royale style of game. I think that could also be kind of fun. But the other big change that I envision coming to modding is actually making it a little bit more of a closed loop system. Now again, none of this has been confirmed, but I speculate Bethesda may make it so mods are only downloadable through Bethesda.net. I want to be 100% clear here, this hasn't been confirmed or denied by Bethesda themselves, but I think with the private server system, that's used as justification for why all of the mods have to be on Bethesda.net. I personally don't view this as the end of the world, but Bethesda is certainly more strict with what kind of mods you can upload. Some of these slutty and particularly scandalous mods are definitely not allowed on Bethesda.net. I know for some users that'll definitely make them unhappy. Maybe there'll be workarounds for this. Again, we have very few details as to how private servers and modding will work, but at least for me with my mod focused channel, I think it's going to be one of the biggest changes coming with this game, in both good ways and bad. But either way, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. 5 of the biggest changes, at least in my eyes, coming to Fallout 76. Personally, in my opinion, I feel like these are going to be the real changes that day to day have an impact on how you play this game. This list really wasn't meant to be negative or positively focused, it just each change had its own characteristics. I think the crafting expansion is going to be awesome, but at the same time, I'm normally someone who plays video games by themselves, so this is definitely going to be a bit of a different experience for me, kind of having to play with other people at least at some points. I would love to hear in the comments down below your thoughts on these changes, but in addition, what you think is really going to be the big defining factor, the thing that makes this new game feel so different. Either way, again, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.